Good afternoon, and I welcome you, students. Already, you know that we are talking of reproduction. In the last lecture, we have discussed sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Before that, we discussed asexual reproduction and we discussed the different methods by which reproduction takes place. For example, vegetative propagation, budding, regeneration, fission. All these processes, fragmentation were discussed by us, which are already available in the YouTube in the video lectures. Today is the most important topic where a lot of questions are coming every year and will be asked. That is based on reproduction in human beings. You have seen that there are different variety of modes that different species use for reproduction. Let us look at the species that we are most interested in, humans. We use sexual mode of reproduction. What we use, students? Sexual mode of regeneration. Our mode is what we are using? Sexual mode of reproduction. Now, when I say sexual mode of reproduction, it means that it is not going to be obtained by a single organism. As you can see, there will be at least what we already know, you are already aware that you have a male cell and a female, and they will combine, they will fuse, and then the sexual reproduction takes place. There are some important points when we say what we have seen, students. You have experienced that our bodies, what you find, they are changing. There are changes which are taking place in the body. When the child is born and as it grows, what happens? You will see that slowly and slowly how the child is growing. They get teeth, then their height is increasing, then different parts of the body weight is increasing. And what happens? From small child, you grow into younger, but there are certain important changes which take place, what we call as teenage. Important changes take place when we reach age of teenage. That is the point where our body gets very, very large changes. Now the question is that these changes cannot be explained as such. Body enlargement, appearance of the body changes, proportions change, new features appear, and new sensations also appear. Some of these changes may be common to both boys and girls, as you have seen, but you see the growth of certain hair around the genital area, thighs. So what is happening, students? There is an age in which more changes are taking place. And what we mean by this, why these changes are taking place? So here we are talking of a very important sexual maturation at puberty. Now there could be question on that. So we have taken it. What we are trying to say that there are changes in the body, but at certain age, when we said teenage, more changes are taking place. Why? Because we are talking of the sexual reproduction, and therefore you know that there has to be specialized cells, specialized in order to perform those functions, and they cannot be performed by other cells. All this process, therefore, what is happening? Our question is, why does body show sexual maturation at puberty? We have to understand what, first of all, question is, what is puberty? Question: what is puberty, student? First question is that. What do you think? Do you have any idea of this? What is puberty, students? If a question is given, then we have to be sure what we are saying. Puberty is a name for which when body begins to develop and change. Already your body is changing and developing, but there is some important change which is happening at this point. What we define, the time between childhood and adulthood is called adolescence. From childhood, you come to adulthood. The age at which sex hormones begin to be produced and boys and girls become sexually mature is called puberty. This is the point number one. Number two, the puberty is the age at which sex hormones or gametes begin to be produced. And when puberty will come, student, there are sex hormones. They begin to be produced, and boy and girl become sexually mature. That is called puberty. So this is the definition of puberty. Note it down. Boys general age 13 to 14, girls 13 to 12 year. Male gonads called testes. Testes produce male gamete called sperm. Testes produce sex hormone called testosterone. Which is the sex hormone? Testosterone. Female, I will put these in points. Female gonads called ovary produce eggs. Ovaries produce sex hormones called estrogen or progesterone. As your body grows taller, it will change in other ways too. You will gain weight, and as your body becomes heavier, you will start to notice changes in overall shape. Guys' shoulders will grow wider, their bodies will become muscular, voices will become deeper. For some guys, the breasts will grow a bit, but for most of them, this growth goes away by the end of the puberty. So the first thing which we talked is what is puberty? Because questions can be asked on that. So when boys and girls become sexually mature, what we are saying? Boys and girls become sexually mature. That is called puberty. You already know about this. What changes take place inside your bodies. As we said, your hairs are starting growing, and there are changes which take place, so that what is important is sex hormones are produced in the body. Sex hormone. So hormones we are talking about. In other words, what I'm saying, the body shows sexual maturity when reaching puberty because of the various hormonal changes. Important point is there are hormonal changes. You have heard about hormones. Hormonal changes happens in the body. Hormonal changes happens in the body. There are several hormones that are produced during the time of reaching puberty. There are hormones, several hormones are produced. These hormones not only influence the sexual characters, but they also influence the overall body mass buildup. The function of all hormones is usually interconnected, and they untorn influence the body. This is the major reason why there is a maturation that is seen in the body at the time of the puberty. So when puberty takes place, you see a maturation in the body. Body becomes mature, जो दाढ़ी आ गई, मूछें आ गई, और वो उसी समय आपने सारे hairs, different parts of the body, तो ये सारी changes आप experience करते हैं, all experience, all as at this age we see sexual maturity is achieved. So hormones, and there are hormones which are released in the body. Question was asked, students, What are the common changes in boys and girls at puberty? Question. What type of questions are asked in this? Common changes in boys and girls at puberty. What happens in the girls? The breast develops and enlarge. Note down all the points. Note down all the points because in your book they are given in the paragraph forms and we are giving you point wise more information. If a question is asked, you can write the points. Hips broadens. Number two, extra fat is deposited in various parts of the body like hip and thigh. Extra fat. Fallopian tubes, vagina, uterus enlarges. You will see in the girls, this will be enlarged. This tube will be there, vagina, uterus, and they become enlarged. Feeling and sexual drives. So there is a feeling and sexual drives at the age of the when puberty happens. These are the changes in the girls. What happens in the case of the boys? Hair grow on the chest, face, beard and mustache. You get hair. Okay? Chest, face, beard, mustache. Body become muscular. Voice deepen. Even changes take place in the voice also. आपने देखा कई बार बच्चे जब टीनेज होते हैं इनकी आवाज भारी सी हो जाती, कुछ साउंड भी चेंज होता. चेस्ट एंड शोल्डर ब्रॉडन, चेस्ट और शोल्डर ब्रॉडन हो जाते हैं. पेनीज एंड टेस्टिस बिकम लार्ज. टेस्टिस प्रोड्यूस स्पर्म. फीलिंग एंड सेक्सुअल ड्राइव. These are some of the changes which are in boys and girls at the puberty. So if a question is given, common changes in girls at puberty, you can write the point wise. Common changes in boys, you can write point wise. Note down point wise so that in the exam we can easily answer the question. Note down. After you noted, I will proceed further. A question was asked to the students, why does body show sexual maturation at this age? Question. Why body show sexual maturation? We have talked about the need for specialized cell types in multicellular bodies. We have a multicellular body. And you need specialized cells. Specialized cells to perform special functions. Whatever functions are there, different cells have to be there. Specialized cell, okay, to carry out specialized functions. Now the reproduction is not a normal function, it is a very specialized function. So the creation of germ cells to participate in sexual reproduction is a specialized function. What we are saying? Creation of germ cells, okay, to participate in sexual reproduction. reproduction, ठीक है, is a specialized function, is a specialized function. And you have seen in the plants that develop special cell and tissue types to create them. Humans develop special tissues for this purpose. So special tissues are needed for this purpose. While the body of the individual is growing to adult size, the resources of the body are mainly directed at achieving this growth. So during this sexual maturation, the body will provide this need, okay? Resources of the body, the food you are eating, whatever substances you are eating, you are fulfilling the needs of the body, and the body of the individual is growing to adult size. Resources are directed towards achieving this growth. While that is happening, the maturation of reproductive tissue is not likely to be a major priority. Thus, as the rate of general body growth begins to slow down, reproductive tissue begin to mature. Your body is growing. When you are a child, you need more food. Your body is growing faster. But when you come to an age of sexual maturation, what you are saying, you are becoming teenage adult. What happens at that point? The rate of general body begins to slow down. Okay? Thus the rate of general begins to slow down because at that point the reproductive tissues grow. The reproductive tissues begin to mature. This period during adolescence is called puberty. This is what we call puberty. Just now we explained. So the sexual maturation is required because then you have to prepare specialized function, specialized cells are required, and specialized function is there, the reproduction, specialized function. Therefore, what happens that this has to be there. The sexual maturation has to take place in the body. And there are some ages during which this takes place. It's not that there is a fixed age, but we know what is the age when you are becoming adults. So do all changes that we have talked about link to the reproductive process? What we are talking, the changes which are linked to reproductive process. Changes which are linked to reproductive process. We must remember that sexual mode of reproduction means that germ cells of two individuals have to join together. Sexual mode means sexual mode of reproduction means what? Germ cells, what will happen? The germ cells from two bodies. Okay? External. So germ cells from two individuals. Two individuals have to join. They must join together. How this will happen? This can happen by the external release of germ cells from bodies of individuals. So they have to externally release the germ cells. Okay? From the bodies of the individual, as happening in flowering plants, or it can happen by two individuals joining their bodies. Two individuals joining their bodies. Okay? Or it can happen by two individuals joining their bodies together for internal transfer of germ cells or fusion. So the germ cells from the two individuals have to undergo fusion. They will undergo fusion. As this happens in animals, if animals are to participate in the process of mating, their state of sexual maturity must be identified by other individuals. Many changes during puberty, such as new hair growth patterns, are signals that sexual maturation is taking place. Question. What? ठीक है? What signals sexual maturation? If you are experiencing in your age, what signals you get that you are sexually matured? What is happening? Hair growth patterns, they are taking place in the body. You can experience these hair growths when you are reaching the state of puberty. On the other hand, actual transfer of germ cell between two people needs special organs. Now, special organs will be required. How will you transfer the germ cells from two individuals? One individual is there, another individual is there. The germ cell has to be transferred. Then you will need special organs. What do you need? Special organs for the sexual act. So, important thing that special organs are required. You will need special organs for the sexual act, for the transfer of germ cells. For transfer of germ cells. Special organs. We will study what organ. As the pennies, when it is capable of becoming erect, the special organ pennies, what happens when it is capable of becoming erect? When it becomes erect. In mammals such as human, the baby is carried in mother's body. Now, the baby, it lives in the mother's womb. The mother provides food through the blood to the baby for a long period. About 8-9 months, the baby is inside the mother's body. Food is provided. And after, when it comes out of the body, what happens? Breast fed later. So there has to be changes in the body. How you have to provide all these things. The female reproductive organs and breasts will need to mature to accommodate these possibilities. So the female breasts, they mature, and then the baby has to be provided breastfeeding at a later, after the birth is there. So whatever organs are required, they should be, these are what we say reproductive organs. They have to be there. Let us look at the systems involved in the process of sexual reproduction. So by now we have defined few questions, answered few questions. What is puberty? What is sexual maturation? And when puberty happens, what changes take place in boys and what changes in girls? And then why this is required? Because for sexual mode of reproduction, the germ cells from two individuals have to join. And then only this process will take place. And therefore, there has to be special organs to do this process. Unless you have that, it is not possible. So note down everything. All these questions can be there. Now we have to see the system involved in the process of sexual reproduction. What system we are using? Individuals, what system we have for the fusion of these two cells which will take place? Let us see. The system, male reproductive system. Let us see the male reproductive system, students. The male reproductive system consists of portions which produce the germ cells. So male will produce the germ cells, and other portion that one you need is to produce, and second you need to deliver the germ cell for fertilization. So these two processes are required. What we have to do? Produce the germ cell and other portion that deliver the germ cell to the site of the fertilization. Here is a picture of that. What you have: rectum, semical vesicle, prostate gland, vas deferens, epidermis, testes, scrotum, urethra, glans, penny, body cavity, ureter, urinary bladder. Picture is given in the book. We will explain different parts of that. First, it consists of testes, scrotum, epidermis, vas deferens or sperm duct, seminal vesicles, prostate gland, and pennies. Now note down. First one we have said testes. What are they? Are oval shaped organs. Lie in abdominal cavity. There are two testes. How many? Two. In male sex cell called sperm. The sex cell is called sperm, and male sex hormone called, what is the name of the male sex hormone? Testosterone. Note down. The sex cell is called the sperm, and sex hormones, what is the name of the sex hormone in the male? Testosterone. Important. The male sex hormone. It is called testosterone. Scrotum. Testes lie in small muscular pouch outside the abdominal cavity because of some formation requires lower temperature than the temperature inside the body. Now, your sperm, formation requires lower temperature. It's an important point to be noted. Temperature is important. If temperature is high, then it will die. Sperm formation takes place at a lower temperature. Your body temperature is more. Therefore, testes lie in small muscular pouch outside the abdominal cavity. They are lying outside the abdominal cavity because of sperm formation requires lower temperature than the temperature inside the body. High temperature, the sperm will die, will not live. So they are lying in small muscular pouch outside the abdominal cavity, not inside the abdominal cavity. Third, epidermis, the sperms formed in testes. Sperms are formed in the testes. Temperature is lower there. They come out and go into coiled tube called epidermis. So they will go into the coiled tube. You have seen the diagram which is given in the book. You can again see that. Vas deferens. From epidermis, sperms are carried by a long tube, which joins another tube called urethra coming from the bladder. The glands, seminal vesicle and prostate glands, there are two glands. See, prostate gland and seminal vesicles are there. Add their secretion to sperms so that sperms become liquid. Sperm, if it doesn't become liquid, then it will be difficult for it to travel. So what they do? The glands, which glands? Seminal and prostate. They secrete to sperm so that sperms become liquid. Sperms become liquid. Semen contain liquid and sperm. The semen, it contains liquid and sperm because with the liquid they can flow easily. They can flow easily. Pennies, it passes the sperm from man's body into vagina of female's body during mating. Note down, we have given you separately everything because they can ask any function of testes, scrotum, epidermis, where glands, semen, penis. What is the function of penis? It passes the sperm from man's body into the vagina of the female body during mating process. Note down. Note down everything. Once you have noted, I will proceed further. Have you noted everything? Or you need time? Let us see the male reproductive system. The male reproductive system is made up of internal inside your body and external outside the body. There are two parts. One is internal. Second is external. Internal and external. Two parts. Together, these organs help you urinate. They help you urinate also. Urinate. Rid of your body of liquid material and have sexual intercourse and make children. So these two internal and external parts of the body or organs, they perform two functions. What are those two? Urinate and also sexual intercourse. Both the functions by these organs. First, what they do? They produce and maintain the transport sperm. They produce and maintain the produce, maintain and transport the sperm, male reproductive cell and semen, the protective fluid around the sperm. What is semen? The protective fluid around the sperm. This protects the sperm actually. They discharge sperm into the female reproductive tract. They have to produce it, maintain it, protect it, and transport it. Where they will transport, they will discharge the sperm into female reproductive tract. They produce and secrete male sex hormones. They also, what they think, produce and secrete male sex hormones. Note down. The entire male reproductive system is dependent on hormones. Very important. Inside your body, hormones are being released. That's why we talked of puberty and sexual maturation. These are chemicals that stimulate or regulate the activity of your cells or organs. The primary hormones involved in functioning of male reproductive system are follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone and testosterone. We told you about testosterone. Important male reproductive system, the hormone. Hormone is important. Note down. Question was asked to student, what is the function of pennies? What is the function of pennies? Question, what is the function of pennies? The erection of the pennies causes it to increase in size and become turgid. The function of the pennies is to deliver the semen into the vagina during sexual intercourse. What happens? Pennies deliver semen. Pennies deliver semen into vagina during sexual intercourse. And in addition to its reproductive function, pennies also allows the excretion of the urine. Pennies also allows for excretion of urine waste materials from the body. So, uric acid, urine through the urethra to the exterior of the body. Two functions. They are doing two functions. They are doing two functions. The formation of germ cells. The formation of germ cells takes place in the testes. What is the function of testes? Formation of germ cells. These are located outside the abdominal cavity in the scrotum. Again, because sperm formation requires a lower temperature than the normal body, this point is important. Question can be asked. We have discussed the role of testes in the secretion of hormone, testosterone hormone. In the previous chapter, in addition to regulating formation of sperms, testosterone brings about changes in appearance seen in boys at the time of the puberty. So why do you see changes at the time of puberty? Question. Why do you see changes in appearance at the time of puberty? What is the answer? Because you have seen secretion of hormones takes place. Okay, what is happening? Secretion of hormone. Which one? Testosterone. So secretion of hormones. Which hormones? Secretion of hormones takes place at the time of puberty, and we are again and again talking of testosterone. So this will result in changes in the appearance. The sperms formed are delivered through vas deferens, which unites with the tube coming from urinary bladder. The urethra thus forms a common passage for both sperms and urine. Already we told you common passage for both urine. Along the path of the glands like prostate and seminal add their secretions. Why they add secretions? So that sperms are now in a fluid. See, to make the transport of sperm, what happens? Then you are seeing there are glands. Which glands I am talking about? Two glands here we have written. Glands like prostate, and which one is second? Seminal vessels. Seminal vessels. They secrete. What will happen? So the sperms will be, then when the sperms are in a fluid, now, liquid, fluid means which can flow, fluid can flow because they will secrete, and fluid which will flow, which makes transport easier, then transport will become easier. Liquids, flow, liquids will flow, transport will be easier, and this fluid also provides nutrition. So this makes two things. The secretion from prostate seminal vessel does two things. Makes transport easier. Makes transport of sperms easier because fluids can flow. Second, provides nutrition. Provides nutrition to sperms. So they have to give food to the sperms. They provide nutrition to the sperms. Two important points. Note down everything. Questions will be how the questions are put, students, to you. Like this, they will bring the question from the book. The sperms are tiny bodies. What are sperms? What are sperms? They are tiny bodies that consists of mainly genetic material and a long tail that helps them to move towards the female germ cells. Note it down. Everything, note it down. Note down everything. What are sperms? Sperms are tiny bodies that consists of mainly genetic material and long tail that helps them to move towards the female germ cell. All right. What happens then? Let us see the female reproductive system. Female reproductive system. Female reproductive system. Female germ cell or eggs are made in the ovaries. Female, germ cells, where they are made or eggs, they are made in ovaries. They are also responsible for production of some hormones. They also produce hormones. Look at the figure and identify the various organs in the female reproductive system. A diagram is given in your book. What do you have? This is the vagina, cervix, uterus, oviduct or fallopian tube. Let us see what are the functions of each of them. It consists of ovaries, oviduct, fallopian tubes, uterus, and vagina. What are ovaries? They are oval-shaped organ inside the abdominal cavity. There are two ovaries. Makes egg or ova. They will make egg or ova and sex hormones composed of thousands of follicles. At puberty, these follicles mature to form ripe egg. So when puberty will take place, what is happening? They become matured and form ripe eggs. Ovaries. Second, oviducts. Above the ovaries, not connected directly to the ovaries, but have funnel-shaped opening, which almost cover ovaries. They cover the ovaries, funnel-shaped. The egg released by ovary goes into oviduct through the funnel-shaped opening, and fertilization takes place in the oviduct. What happens in oviduct? Fertilization takes place. Where fertilization takes place? This point. Fertilization takes place in this oviduct. Uterus, the two oviducts connect to a bag-like organ called uterus. The growth and development of fertilized egg takes place in the uterus. What is the function of uterus? The growth and development of fertilized egg. Growth and development of fertilized egg. That takes place in the uterus. What happens then? What is the role of cervix? Uterus is connected through a narrow opening called cervix to another tube called vagina. Now what is actual thing is that when a girl is born, the ovaries already contain thousands of immature eggs at the time of the birth. At the time of the birth of a girl, there are thousands of immature eggs. On reaching puberty, some of these start maturing. So when they become sexually mature or at the age of puberty, what happens? These immature eggs start maturing. Eggs start maturing. One egg is produced every month. Every month, what happens? One egg. One egg every month. In a month. By one of the ovaries. It is produced by ovaries. The egg is carried from ovary to the womb. And this egg goes from ovary to the womb. Through a thin oviduct or fallopian tube. There is a fallopian tube. The two oviducts unite into elastic bag-like structure known as uterus. The uterus opens into the vagina through the cervix. The sperms enter through the vaginal passage during sexual intercourse. So when sexual intercourse will take place, what will happen? Sperms enter through the vaginal passage. They travel upwards and reach the oviduct where they may encounter the egg. Where is the egg? In the oviduct. The fertilized egg, zygote, then the fertilized egg. That is what we call zygote. Zygote starts dividing and form a ball of cells or embryo. It forms embryo. The embryo is implanted in the lining of the uterus where they continue to grow and develop organs to become fetus. Then it will become fetus. That means organs will start developing organs. It will develop organs to become fetus. We have seen that the mother's body is designed to undertake the development of the child. The mother's body is designed to undertake the development of child. Hence, uterus prepares itself every month to receive and nurture the growing embryo. So, uterus prepares itself every month to receive and nurture the growing embryo. It will nurture. So, you have nurture will be there, student. Growing embryo. The lining thickens and is richly supplied with blood to nourish the growing embryo. The embryo gets nutrition. Question was where the embryo gets nutrition. Embryo gets nutrition from mother's blood. Blood of the mother with the help of special tissue called placenta. This is a disc which is embedded in the uterine wall. Uterine wall, it contains villi on embryo side of the tissue. On the mother side are blood spaces which surround the villi. This provides a large surface area for glucose and oxygen to pass from mother to the embryo. So what is happening? Then there are blood spaces which surround the villi and there is a large surface area. Then glucose and oxygen passes from mother to the embryo. The developing embryo will also generate waste substances which can be removed by transferring them into the mother's blood through placenta. So it is all happening, you see, through this placenta, transfer of the food and the removal of the waste products also from the embryo. The development of the child inside the mother's body takes approximately 9 months. The child is born as a result of rhythmic contraction of the muscles in the uterus. So students, now you see the male and female reproductive organs are there, and then how the sexual mode of reproduction takes place. As you can see, this is a very long process and needs a lot of energy and work by the mother. And so many, you have seen, hormones are there. We can ask questions on different organs, parts, their functions, and what hormones are involved. Therefore, this ends up this part of it. The male reproductive system, female reproductive system, and reproduction in human beings. Then we will meet you tomorrow, continue and do some question answer sessions also. Once the chapter is finished, we will proceed to the periodic classification of elements, which is also important, and a lot of questions are going to be asked. Okay, then I see you tomorrow. Bye bye.